Hey everyone, welcome back. Hope you guys are having a great Wednesday. The markets were down today and Bitcoin was actually up along with Ethereum. So we'll look at what's going on there. The miners, however, were down today for the most part. Majority of them were. We'll look at what's going on there. It seems like they're following more of NASDAQ than they are Bitcoin itself, which is kind of weird. Okay, and then we'll also take a look at the following stories that we do have. Terawulf has now provided that they have diluted 40 million shares, roughly a little bit more than that, but we'll take a look at what's going on there. They're going to use the proceeds to pay off, fund operations, pay some debt, things like that. And then Cipher also reported their February production update. BTC was up production, hash rate was also up, which was nice to see. And then we got also Bitfarms. Bitfarms production update for February was, BTC production was down and the hash rate was flat. So we'll cover all that and it'll be pretty much an easy day. Okay. So as always, you guys know the drill here, not financial advice, for entertainment only. Do your own research. And I'm invested in following coins and companies for full disclosure. So let's get into Bitcoin, or the markets right now. So markets, S&P was actually down today 0.47% to 3,951. Dow Jones was up just barely 0.02% to 32,661. NASDAQ was down 0.86% to 11,938. And then Bitcoin was actually up today quite nicely. It was up almost 2.1%, a bit higher than that, almost 4% on the day at the peak here. So it is battling with our support line, or now it's resistance line at 23,800. It battled with it today, and now we're on to the new day here. We battled with it as well. We came pretty close to touching it as well at 23,798, so right around that 23,800 mark. And the more times we touch it, the more likelihood there is of us going above it. We'll see if that happens, or we could also fall down. But I've also drawn this trend line here a couple of days on my other chart. I included it here on this one, and this is going back to basically the beginning almost of January here. This is from January 6th. You can see that this trend line kind of has maintained itself as far as we got pretty close to it here in February 14th, kind of bounced off of that. And we got pretty close here as well on February 24th, bounced off of it. Same thing on the 25th, came pretty close, bounced off of it. And then we also came really close here today and bounced off of it. So we'll see if this trend line will actually hold or not. But we'll keep you guys posted on that. So right now we are battling with the resistance at 23,800. We'll see how that continues going forward. On the 4-hour chart, we can see that the RSI is now at 53. So we're not overbought, we're not oversold, but price is a little bit higher than what it was back here. So that's somewhat of a good sign there. On the 1-hour chart, if we look at it as well, we can see here that the RSI has been coming down, but so has the price really here from the last couple hours here on it. If we go far enough back out, the RSI is at 50. Last time we were at 50, it was right around here. Price was actually lower, so we are higher on that. So that's also a good sign there. And you can see here how we were kind of battling with the 20-day moving average, the yellow line on the day here. We went above it, went below it, kind of battled with it a little bit. We have gone above it and then battled with the resistance line of 23,800 on it. Okay, so we'll see how that one continues to go forward. I wouldn't be surprised if eventually we do break above that resistance line and then test again our 200 weekly moving average here, which is now at 25,182 roughly. And that's Bitcoin. Let's see what's going on with Ethereum right now. So Ethereum is at, well, it was up today. It was up 3.72% to 1,665. It's down a little bit right now, but it did bounce off of the 50-day moving average here today, or that was actually a couple of days prior. And now we've been kind of just trading right around the 20-day moving average, it looks like. All right, so we'll see how that one's going to go forward. And let's take a look at the miners. The miners were actually down for the most part today. A lot of them were down a couple percentage points, which is kind of weird since Bitcoin was up today. So, but NASDAQ was down. So I'm wondering if they're following more NASDAQ than they are on Bitcoin. Okay, so ANY was down 1.92% to 41 cents. Argo was down 1.76% to $1.67. BitDigital was up 0.79% to $1.27. Bitfarms was down 0.01% to 94 cents. So it was down barely. Cipher was down 3.95% to $1.46. CleanSpark was down 6.52% to $2.58. Core was up nicely today, 7.32% to 32 cents. DigiHost was up 5.69% to $1.30. DMG was down 2.61% to 22 cents. Greenidge was down 2.91% to 50 cents. Hive was down today 1.4% to $2.81. Hot 8 was down 0.61% to $1.64. Iris Energy was down 1.08% to $2.74. Marathon was down quite a bit, 8.31% to $6.51. Lawson was down 5.18% to $2.38. Riot was down 1.76% to $6.14. Soluna was down 8.06% to 31 cents. And Terawulf was down 5.94% to 60 cents. So, like I said, it was just a bad day in the miners. Like I said, I'm also wondering if they're following more NASDAQ than they are Bitcoin, which is kind of strange. But we'll keep an eye on that. And if there's any correlation between the two, we'll let you guys know. Okay, so that's Bitcoin in the markets and Ethereum. Let's take a look at the network hash rate. Network hash rate on the 7-day has come down a little bit here to 292 million. But if we look at the 1-day average, we've hit a new all-time high again today. So it is now at 363 million terahashes compared to the 359 million terahashes that we had just a couple of days ago. So miners are definitely getting plugged in, and the network hash rate is growing as it's, well, we kind of figured that it was going to do that. So that is it. Let's take a look at our first story here, which is going to be on, I believe, Terawulf announces closing of a 28 million underwritten equity offering and over allotment option. So they spoke, or they put out a release a while back about this, that they're going to be diluting some shares in order to pay down some debt, get out of some debt also for a time being. And this is going to help them kind of extend their runway a little bit longer this year, but get them in a better footing a little bit, and then that way they can pay off some of the stuff going into next year. Okay, so here's what they had to say. Today they announced that it has completed its previous announced underwritten public offering of 40,764,706 shares of its common stock, including 4 million shares sold pursuant to the partial exercise of the underwriter's option to purchase additional shares. The shares were issued at a public offering price of 68 cents per share for total gross proceeds to the company of 27,720,000 before deducting underwriter discounts and commissions and offering expenses. As previously disclosed, Terawulf intends to use the net proceeds from the offering for general corporate purposes, which may include working capital and or expenditures. So I think this is fine. We kind of knew this was going to be happening. This is why, the price of Terawulf fell so much here in the last month or so, if we look at it. And there we go. So you can see here, right around when the news came out back on, when was this, February 1st? I mean, it dropped like 40% almost from $1. It was right above $1 and went down to a low of 66 cents. So it dropped like 40% on that news. And as the offering now is at 68 cents, which is kind of in line where the stock price is currently. So had the stock price held on to the dollar, it would have been less shares, I believe, diluted to get into 27 million. It would have been closer to 27 million shares instead of 40 million shares. Okay, so that's it. Hopefully this gives them enough money to get by for the remainder of the year. They're going to be selling anyways their Bitcoin that they do mine. That should help them off as well. With Bitcoin going up in value, that's going to help them as well. So this should be good, I think. I don't think they're going to need any more, but we'll see how they progress going forward. Okay, so that was Terawulf. Let's take a look at Cipher Mining's production update. So Cipher Mining announces February 2023 operational update. It's nice that they are providing those relatively quickly here, as well as Bitfarms is. And here's what we have from them. So this is their Odessa data center. This now has about 4.2 exahash, I think. We'll look at it down there. Here's another picture of Odessa data center as well. Another picture, miners getting installed here. And here's what we do have for them. So BTC mined was 398, which is nice growth from last month. They sold about 357 BTC as well, and they hold currently 465 BTC. Total deployed mining rigs is 48,500 roughly. I have a little bit less, and they are a month-end operating hash rate of 5.2 exahash. Okay, here's what management commentary had to say. During the month of February, Cipher continued to expand operations at its Odessa facility, fund capital expenditures out of operations, and build its Bitcoin inventory. Cipher began the month with a potential to mine up to 13 Bitcoin in a day and finished with a potential to mine 15.8. There's a 21% increase in a single month, so that's great there. And we have here also our steady march to deploy an initial 6 exahash continued throughout February. Said Tyler Page, CEO of Cipher. We now have over 4.2 exahash of self-mining operations at Odessa facility. So this is their wholly owned facility, and approximately 5.2 exahash of self-mining operations across all of our sites. The other sites, they own 49%. And those are being reported as equity or something like that, under assets, not under income. So we'll look at that information as well. And this is all that we have provided here. I think, there's not much else going on here. They talk about the selling. They energized some 7,710 new Bitmain and MicroBT miners, which is fine. Okay, so let's take a look at the numbers that I do have for them, and then we'll get into Bitfarms as well. So Cipher currently has about 247 million shares outstanding. Their stock price is $1.46. Market cap is 361 million. Their current hash rate, and this should be updated, why isn't this not updating? I know why, because they didn't move the numbers over. So I need to move these over to here as well. Get rid of that. And then also add these in here. And that should fix it along with the ones over here that were added in already. So that should fix our numbers. Yep, 5.2 exahash is where they're at. They're getting to 6 exahash. So they are about 86% operational right now with about 15% growth left in them. Their HODL position of 424 BTC, which should be 420, what did they say? They had 465. That needs to get updated also. 465. I was doing this in a rush. Got home a little bit late. So that's valued at approximately right now 10.8 million. That is about 3% of their current market cap, and each share has about 4 cents in it right now. Okay. BTC production, you can see their production has been increasing quite nicely here as of the beginning of the summer. December was 225, January was 343, and now February is 398. So nice growth, nice steady growth over that time frame, which is great to see. However, their efficiency has been coming down here from December of 80.4 to January 80, now 76.5. So this is BTC per exahash, and I'm using the numbers provided for the end of the month exahash divided by the number of Bitcoins that were mined. Okay, next is their production here. So we can see their production as well. That generated them about 9.25 million, but I do have some questions on this, which we'll get into below here. And they sold 357 Bitcoin, which is about 8.3 million in proceeds from that. Next, down here, the miners that got installed here are the ones that have are these, the 88 terahash miners here. Those were about 1,500 of those, along with 2,000 of these, let's see here, 100 terahash miners, and potentially these 3,000 of these 195 terahash miners in order to get us close to the 48,500 that they reported at being at 5.2 exahash right now. Okay, so the ones that are in yellow here are the ones that I'm guessing are the other facilities that are not wholly owned. These are the ones that they're getting 49% of. And those are being reported differently. So here's the numbers that we do have for them. I have them at 9.275 million in revenue for the month total for the BTC that they mine. But then if we look at the facilities that are the 49% that they have stake in them, those generated about 8.69 if this is the case where they're reporting everything that was mined in those facilities, but then they have to give the other Bitcoins to somebody else. I'm just thinking that's the case. And if we take the number that was mined for those, their 49% stake of it, subtract it from that, and then subtract that from the total number, that would be about 8.3 million, it looks like. And then the reported would be 7.5. And this is based on, this is the amount that's mined, but it's being reported differently. It's being reported as, it's down here. They're reporting it, I want to make sure. The company uses the equity method of accounting to account for its 49% equity interest in the LLCs. So that's being reported differently than regular mining revenue. So I'm guessing we'll find out when they actually report for Q1 of this year how those numbers are being reported, and then we can adjust the numbers here a little bit. But right now, I'm just using the 9.275 million in revenue in my calculations up here, which are right there. Current quarter, and then the last 3 quarters that we do have numbers for, or well, actually the last 2 potentially here. So we're using those numbers, and let's see here. Yeah, we're using those numbers there for that so that you guys are clear on that. I know it's a little bit jarbled up in here because they do have some weird stuff going on here with the LLCs. Now, as far as institutions are concerned, institutions went down a little bit here to 109 million, but shares also went down quite a bit. Shares decreased by about 50% here to 12.8 million from 27 million, and percentage owned is only now 5.17%. We did get as far as analyst ratings for them, going from a hold to a buy, so that's good. And the price target went from $1.50 to $3 now, so that's also good there. Okay, so that's institutions there. Let's take a look at what we actually have for them. So the current quarter, we have them at about 24.8 million right now, if things work out the way they are and the way that they're mining right now. Last 3 quarters, we really don't have last 3 quarters, only have the last potentially 2 quarters here, and these are both estimated, so we're still waiting on results for the December quarter. That's at roughly, those 2 combined are at 10.3 million. So a combined total of 35 million. Also, these numbers here, as they reported in the quarterly report for ending in September, that they did not have generated any revenue because they were only mining in those LLCs, which they got 49% of that, and that was reported as assets, I guess, or something weird like that. Okay, so that's just an estimate right there. Based on all those numbers that we do have in those assumptions, I'm getting them to be about a PE of 20, so they would be $1.42 if we use 50% net income from gross revenue. If we use 75% net income from gross revenue, we're looking at $2.13. I have them at $1.42 right now. They are at $1.46. So right, pretty close to that where they are right now. So in my opinion, they're pretty well valued based on their past revenue. But if we start looking into their future revenue, which they're going to get to about 6 exahash coming up here, that's going to help them out going forward in each quarter. But as Bitcoin price, if Bitcoin price stays flat and the network hash rate increases, they're going to be generating less. So they do need to continue to grow in order to keep up with the network hash rate growth. Okay, so that is it. Let me know what you guys thought of all of this information here. If you guys have any questions, let me know. Love to hear from you guys on this one. And hopefully we'll get some clarification from them as far as the LLCs when they do report Q1 for this year. That will help us out tremendously, knowing how to report the revenue and how to report the assets that they do have, or how are they going to do it. Let's get into Bitfarms here really quick. And Bitfarms has a little bit more information here, so we'll go through this as fast as we can. Bitfarms mines 387 Bitcoins in February, exceeding 20,000 BTC, I guess, from inception. It's kind of nice. Okay, so here we go. We are well positioned for growth in 2023 following our 2022 infrastructure investments, our reduction in cash burn, and our significant deleveraging that began last June, said Geoff Murphy, CEO of Bitfarms. In strengthening our balance sheet, we increased our financial flexibility to pursue strategic growth opportunities that we believe are emerging as a result of the persistent and challenging industry dynamics, which is great to hear because they're only getting to about 7 exahash, I believe, something. We'll take a look at the numbers there, and it's going to be nice to see them possibly grow beyond that as well. Okay, so next, in addition with the 22.4 million in credits for the purchase of miners and 40 megawatts of build capacity at our Argentina farm, as soon as miners can be imported there, we will require minimal capital outlays to bring on a substantial additional production. So that's good there that they can grow there, but the miners... as soon as the miners can be imported there, that's still a little concerning. They've been trying to get miners in there for a couple months now. So it would be nice to see that they are actually getting miners to them. So it looks like they're still having some problems with customs there. So that's not good. There, continuing on here, CFO Jeff Lucas added, in February, we paid off 2 miner finance agreements, the 20.6 million facility with BlockFi for 7.75 million. That was an outstanding job. And shortly after, the 379 agreement with Relis, 418,000 as well. So that's good there. So combined, these actions have materially reduced our total indebtedness and alleviated the company's 22.3 million in principal and interest payments for just 7.9 million. Fantastic job there. Okay. These and other strategic actions over the last 9 months have reduced our debt 86% from a high of 165 million in June of 2022 to just 22.7 million at the month end, substantially strengthening our balance sheet and improving cash flows through the reduction of monthly debt payments. That is also really good to hear. Okay, continuing on here, here's what they mined. So total BTC mined was 387. That is less than in January of 486. Month-end operations was 4.7, the same as it was in January. And then watts per terahash efficiency did improve here to 39 from 40. And you can see here that it has improved even more so from February of last year. BTC sold was 387, so pretty much whatever they mined in February, they pretty much sold off on it. And continuing on down here, let me see here. Mining operations. So improved efficiency of newly unencumbered Bitcoin miners in Washington, 16% from 31 watts per terahash to 26 watts per terahash with new firmware updates. So that's great. They are doing that. And then improved overall fleet efficiency to 39 watts per terahash, which is also good. And then they started facility optimizations, repairs, and preparation for spring. So they are preparing for that as well. That's good. We talked about the selling of BTC. They do hodl right now 405 BTC in custody at February 28th, representing a total value of approximately 9.6 million based on BTC price of 23,800. And that is it. So let's take a look at the numbers that I do have for Bitfarms, and we'll call it a day on this one. Okay, so shares outstanding in Bitfarms is 215 million. They currently have a market cap of 204 million. Stock price is at 95 cents. And current hash rate is 4.7 exahash. So they are a little bit lower than Cipher is. Cipher's at 5.2, and then self-mining for them was 4.2, I believe. They need to definitely grow. And let's see here, future hash rate is going to be 7.5 exahash. They are 62% operational, so they still have quite a bit of growth left in them at 59.8%. And their BTC hodl is valued at 9.4 million, and it's about 4.61% of their market cap right now, and each share has about 4 cents in it. Now, looking at their BTC production here, we can see that they had a really good December of 496. January was down a little bit, 486. And then now February is down 387. That is the lowest that they have mined here in the last basically 12 months. If we would go back to March, maybe March might be lower than that. But we're only looking through April here. So that's not good. We need to see that get reversed. BTC per exahash efficiency has also been coming down here ever since they had a nice month in December, 110. January was 103, 82 now in February, and I'm going by the number of Bitcoin that were mined at the end of the month hash rate that's reported. I think they're going by the average hash rate that they had for the month because they're only mining for X amount of days. Next over here, we can see that the 387 Bitcoins generated them about 9 million in revenue, and they did sell that off, so they got 9 million in proceeds from that sale of BTC on it. We know that they didn't install any miners here in February, but they were down as far as production was to 26 days from the 28 days that were in the month. So that is they did some curtailment in there, which they talked about in the press release as well. And that got us to the 9 million as well, what they reported. Institutions wise, institutions did decrease here by 2, but shares did increase though, so that's good. 37 million shares from 35 million, and percentage owned increased a little bit to 16.96% from 16.1. We still have the same buy rating for them, 1 buy. And then the price target went down a little bit here to $3.68 from $3.76, and that's across the board for them. So they're saying 368. Let's take a look at what I have for them. So far we have, let me see here, the current month we're looking at possibly 29 million, so that would be an increase, not month, current quarter would be estimated 29 million. That would be an increase over the previous quarter ending December, which was at 25.9. That's also an estimated. And then we're using the last 3 quarters, which is December quarter, which was estimated, and the prior 3 quarters, which were actually reported. And those are the factual numbers for those. So combined, we're looking at about 130 million in revenue, 50% net income from gross revenue. We're looking at $4.53, potentially with a P of 15. They're saying $3.68, something like that. I think that's a little bit low. This is kind of where I'm looking for them to get back up into once Bitcoin starts going up higher. And then if we're using the 75% net income for gross revenue, we're looking at $6.80. And if they grow and then they also increase the hash rate going forward, they could fetch a P of 20 as well. So anywhere between $6 and $9, kind of where I'm looking at them right now. And then they could go up even more, depending on where Bitcoin goes this year, network hash rate, and also where things end up at after the halving event as well. Once we reach new all-time highs of Bitcoin, we could be north of that or just a little bit over that. So that's it. Overall, nothing to sing home about. As far as the production is for this month or February, they need to grow, continue to grow. They need to get their Argentina site. Well, I think it's getting more and more ready, but the problem is with customs right now for them, so they need to get that resolved somehow. So that's it. We'll see who else reports tomorrow. Usually I think CleanSpark is pretty close to being the next one that usually reports. Then we got Marathon Ride as well, report relatively quickly as well. We'll see what those numbers are like for those guys. And that's it. It should be a fun and quick week. All right. I hope you guys have a great night, great Thursday and Friday coming up, and then we'll see where Bitcoin ends up as well. So thank you so much for watching. Also, spreadsheets available to my Patreon members. Thank you everyone there for their continued support, and thank you so much for watching. If you guys enjoyed the video, hit the like button, subscribe. Helps me out tremendously, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.